Okay, so for the Thursday night item, I'll have two videos that are just for these, so I'm not going to go over those. But this video that you're watching here, we'll talk about these two items. So for this hands-on discussion, what I want you to do, and we've been learning about the command, doing commands on the command line, but now I want you to kind of dig a little deeper, right? So everybody needs to select something different because, and that's why I've given two links here, and I'm sure you could find other resources as well, right? But find, some command line commands that you want to learn more about, right? And here is a couple sites, right? Pick one, play around with it, understand what it does. And I do have to throw a little bit of caution here, right? Is there some commands at the command line, that's why it's so powerful, that can wipe systems out. So always read before you do post anything, okay? Or before you run anything, okay? So, and try out more than one. So, like in your reply, mentions the one you've tried and or researched, right? And yeah, they all need to be different. So that's why this is one of those. It's easier to post sooner in the week because there's some very common ones. So as you're posting later, gets be a little more challenging, right? I'm going to actually change this to three instead of four different commands because depending on the number in this class, that could be a little more challenging. But you could also, one thing you could do is if somebody's posted it, but you found another way to use it, maybe another flag, we call it. Remember how the flag, like the dash M on the commit, you found another way to use it, you could do that. But if you just duplicate somebody else's post, that won't work, right? So again, give us links, or find the commands you want to go over, and then in your post tell us, right, which ones you've tried, making sure you all select something different, because trust me, as if I just click on these, there's a lot out there, and then it's just going to give you some information about the different ones. And then I believe down here, yeah, we start looking. Now these are some of the very common ones, so these are probably ones we're going to see sooner from students as well. See, we covered some of these. Right, so there's a pretty good size list here, right? So that's for this, because there's just so much you can learn about command lines. And here's one from Code Academy. There's other sources out there you could try. Okay, so no replies for this one. Now on this next one, this is a new assignment I'm doing this semester, and it's generative AI. And so here's what I want you to do is I want you to first, let's talk about what generative AI is, because most of you, and we've, at the beginning of the semester, I talked about Chat GPT. Chat GPT is just one of the many generative AI tools out there. So if you were to say, what is generative AI? Right? It's artificial intelligence capable of generating text, images, other media using generative models. So what I want you to do is get very practical, because I want you to build something. Now, what you build is varied as the tools that are out there. Okay. So I want you to find a video that actually shows you, maybe in this case, how to write better prompts. And yeah, like how to, and you could actually save those prompts to a markdown file, right? And then you're going to create a W3 directory out on your pub, right? And give us a link to the output that you played around with, or that was shown in there. You could also, and this is a very common one, create an image from text. Now, if you did that one, you would embed it in your reply. You could also create a web page. Now, like I said, web pages here, but really you'd only want to create one. So in that case, in your W3 folder, you might have an index file where you've shown a basic page that was created by generative AI. Right? So now where this varies is based on which generative tool that you use. And again, don't use a video that somebody else has already shown. There are definitely, and probably the one I'd recommend doing the most is writing better prompts. But all of these are fun, and there are many more out there I probably couldn't even begin to think about. But do something that's relatively short, easy to create, and that you then can put up on your W3. Now, again, this is in your pub. right? So remember, the link that you give us here most likely will be that URL that I showed you before, right? If you don't remember, in 82. Now, this could vary based on what you're providing us. Like if you're embedding, you wouldn't have to provide the URL. But so if I went into my pub, remember I went into my settings here, and then I went into pages if you've forgotten it, right? This gives you that base folder, right? So then if you go in here, W3, now right now that doesn't exist because I haven't created it, but that's what the URL would look like depending on what you had used, what generative AI tool you used. Right, if you create a web page, that's pretty simple. You create HTML, most likely an index. You've learned about that already, right? You could have it write some codes, right? Or code, or who knows what. Actually, it should be who knows what right there, right? So whatever you do, if you haven't, and by the way, I talk about if you have any, like you're not sure how to link it, reach out. I definitely could show you because we know how to embed images. We know how to do index files. You might, if you've created something else, right, just give us a link to the folder itself. And in that case, you wouldn't want to use this URL. You would just use the URL in 82. So again, but I think most of you will probably do prompts or images or maybe websites or code. You just have to figure out a way to share it, which is actually a good thing as well to kind of get you thinking about different ways to share. Now on this one, you are going to need to do 2 replies with substantive replies, right? Again, don't choose a YouTube video or, if you want to choose something not YouTube, there's other stuff out there as well. All right, let me know if you have any questions about these.